Do you have expectations for your goals? And is it possible that they may be holding you back from actually reaching those goals? Well, before I get into that, let me introduce myself. My name's Coach Carissa. I'm a mental and emotional health coach, and I specialize in fear on the brain and rewiring our brains with better thoughts, habits, and emotions so we can go after the things that we want in life. So most of the fears that we have, or the fear response that we have in our brain, is to perceived fears or worries about the future. This is quite normal. We might have worries about our job, we might have worries about money, we might have worries about our relationships. We deal with worries all the time. Now here's the interesting thing about your brain and all the brains out there. Your brain has a special focus feature. Now, this feature means that it will focus on the area that you focus on. It will give you opportunities, and it will be open to opportunities in your environment. It will be open to seeing certain things if you are focusing on it. Now, most of the time, we end up focusing on our worries. What if I don't have enough money? What if I don't get that job? So it's actually where we put our focus, where our brains are going to go. And that might block us from being able to reach our goals, or it might open us to new opportunities. And many times the expectations that we have for ourselves can be so high, as we get closer to them or farther away from them, that fear response starts to kick in. And it tells us, it gives us that self-doubt, or it tells us we're not doing good enough, or that we're failing. And as that happens, we start to question, well, maybe this isn't what I should be doing. Maybe I'm, going after the wrong thing. Maybe it's me and I'm just a failure. And we start to second guess ourselves. And as we do that, because of these really high expectations, we start to lose the motivation for why we started in the first place. Now, there's an easy way to go around this so that we can actually stay more disciplined in our goals while not being so rigid with those reaching those end goals. So there's another aspect that, and I think this requires me to go a little bit deep into another area that some of you are going to, believe, and some of you aren't. And that is the area that there are things that just happen. A lot of times when you have an intention or you have a goal to get something, I don't know if I can guarantee you've probably experienced this in your life or seen this happen in the lives of other people. When we have a goal, things just seem to work out to allow us to reach that end point. It might be that you get a call from somebody unexpected. You might run into somebody on the subway, and it seems like the less we care about reaching that end goal, the quicker that this happens. Some people might call this effect the manifestation effect. They might call it God. They might call it the universe. There's a lot of different names. Serendipity. The reality is that this happens, and it happens to a lot of people, and I'm sure you've experienced it in your life as well. So there are these things that when we set an intention or when we set a goal for ourselves, that number one, your brain is more aware of the different opportunities in your immediate vicinity to help you get to that point. So your brain will be on the lookout for little things that match up with that goal. So you're going to be more aware of things, if you're looking for a car, for example, you're going to be more aware of cars, the certain type of car that you want as you drive about your day, whereas before you might have been completely oblivious to that type of car or that specific color. So this is a big factor in that. The other big factor is how we can work with this manifestation effect so that our expectations aren't conflicting with the magic that can happen there as well. So a lot of times what happens is we have too high expectations, and if we don't get things in the way that we expect to get them, then we feel like we fail, and then we feel like we want to give up. But what if you didn't have expectations for how that was to come about? What if you were open to maybe the way we get to that goal, or if you were open to how we get there? So I'm sure you've seen this a lot of times. Unexpected things come up all the time, and it's more about being open than being rigid. And sometimes our high expectations can actually cause us to lose focus. Think, for example, maybe there is an individual and he wants to become CEO of a company, and that's his expectation, that he's going to be CEO, or that's his end goal. And his expectation for himself is that if he shows up to work at 5 a.m. every day, and an hour, 2 hours before everybody else, and if he puts in the grind every single day, and if he reaches, starts out at the bottom and then gets to the next level, that he will eventually become the CEO. And maybe that's his expectation for himself. And then if he doesn't get promoted to that level, he might really, that might really affect him on a deep level. He might feel like a failure. However, if he had gone the approach of having that end goal of being a CEO, and it could even be with that company or another company, what he would have been doing is expanding his mind to different opportunities. He would have been more laid back, more relaxed, more likely to make connections and build relationships with people that would either recommend him for jobs or notice the work that he's been putting in. So you see here in this situation how sometimes our high expectations can actually block us from the opportunities that we need to get to and go after the goals in our lives. So it starts with 4 main points. Number 1, any goal you have, set an end goal for it. Number 2, trust that it will come. That's the tough one sometimes, like that trust. Let it go, trust that it'll come. Number 3, follow your heart and intuition for things that come up. Or when you get, that feeling of your gut instinct or your feeling of intuition, respond to it, answer it. Even if it seems kind of crazy or wild, it's amazing where that intuition can take you. I've seen this many, many times in my own life and others as well. And number 4, how many times do I have here? Number 4, be open to the opportunities that come up in your life. And if they align with your end goal, say yes. If they don't align, say no. They don't align, that's fine, unless somehow your intuition is telling you the opposite. Most of the time, though, if it's in line with your if it's in line with your end goal, say yes. Eventually, you will get there. And the last point, that may be 5, I'm sorry if it is. The last point is reassess. If at any point in time, it seems like you're moving backwards instead of forwards, or you're stagnating, there may be an unconscious or conscious expectation that you have for yourself in how you're expecting to reach that goal or that level for yourself. And just analyze if maybe are you expecting it to happen in a specific way with a certain person or in a specific job? And how can you let go and release that expectation so that you can be open to more opportunity and possibility, and the different ways that can show up for you in your life, or the different ways you can go about that to get back to that core goal. Well, that's everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching and following. If this is something you struggle with, or you're wanting to rewire your brain with better thoughts, habits, and emotions so that you're not fighting that battle of, your belief systems and then your actions, click the link in my bio or click the link down below to book a one-on-one session with me. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And remember, mindset matters.